Welcome to Raising Chickens 101, everything you need to know to get started. Whether you're dreaming of fresh eggs, sustainable living, or simply enjoying the companionship of these feathered friends, this video is your ultimate guide. Today, we'll cover everything from caring for baby chicks to protecting your flock from predators. If you've ever wondered how to get started, you're in the right place. Imagine stepping into your backyard and hearing the soft clucks of chickens as they roam freely, scratching the earth. Raising chickens is not only a rewarding hobby, but also a practical way to ensure a fresh supply of eggs and, for some, a sustainable source of meat. But where do you begin? Whether you're looking to start with fluffy chicks or considering adopting mature hens, this guide will walk you through everything you need to know. From choosing the right breeds to protecting your flock from predators, we've got you covered. Ready to dive into the wonderful world of chickens? Let's get started. Why raise egg-laying chickens? Raising chickens goes beyond the joy of watching them scratch and cluck around your yard. It's about cultivating a lifestyle of self-reliance and intentionality. Here are some compelling reasons to consider adding chickens to your homestead. Food security. Providing your family with eggs from chickens you've raised ensures you know exactly how they were treated and what they were fed. Grocery independence. Reducing your reliance on store-bought eggs is a significant step toward food freedom. Financial savings. While there's an upfront investment, raising chickens can offset grocery costs as egg prices continue to rise. Potential income. Selling fresh eggs or even hatching chicks to sell as pullets can generate additional income. Resilience. Hatcheries sometimes face shortages, but by maintaining your own flock or even hatching chicks yourself, you create a sustainable resource. Chickens, like all animals, go through distinct life stages, and knowing what to call them can help you understand their needs at every step of their journey. We start with a baby chicken, called a chick. A baby chicken, usually from hatchling to about 6 weeks old. Chicks are adorable, but require extra care and warmth. Pullet, a young female chicken between 6 weeks and about 20 weeks old, not yet mature enough to lay eggs. Hen, an adult female chicken that has reached egg-laying age, typically around 5 to 6 months old. Rooster, an adult male chicken, also known as a cock. Roosters are not necessary for hens to lay eggs, but play a role in flock protection and reproduction. If starting with chicks feels overwhelming, many people opt for pullets or mature hens instead. Acquiring mature chickens can save time and effort, but it comes with risks. Always ensure that the chickens you're bringing home are healthy and free of diseases. A reliable source, such as a trusted breeder or a local owner forced to rehome their flock, is ideal. What stage of life do you think you'd prefer to start with? Chicks, pullets, or mature hens? Share your thoughts in the comments. The reality of chicken math. Beware of chicken math, a phenomenon experienced by nearly every chicken owner. You may start with a small flock of 5 or 6 hens, but soon you'll find yourself captivated by the variety of breeds and the charm of their personalities. Suddenly, your backyard is bustling with chickens. Being prepared before you expand your flock is crucial. A lack of preparation can lead to overwhelming and potential setbacks. If you're sourcing new birds, whether chicks, pullets, or mature hens, ensure they come from reputable sources. Biosecurity is paramount. Quarantine new additions for 2 weeks to prevent the spread of disease. When purchasing new chickens, whether from an existing flock or as individuals, this bears repeating again. It's absolutely crucial to quarantine them first. Failing to do so can result in bringing in a bird infected with a disease, which could quickly spread and potentially wipe out your entire flock. I've seen it happen firsthand. New birds were introduced to an established flock without proper quarantine, and as a result, the entire flock had to be culled, meaning they were put down. In the excitement of starting your own flock, it's easy to overlook the signs of illness in a chicken. While most people selling chickens are honest about the health of their flock, there are unfortunately some sellers who may not be upfront. They may simply want to offload a problem bird, and that could lead to trouble for you. As a responsible chicken keeper, it's important to familiarize yourself with common symptoms of illness in chickens and how to treat them. Some symptoms of illness can also appear during normal stages of growth and mimic molting or growth phases, making it difficult to distinguish between a bird that's sick and one that's simply going through a natural process every chicken goes through. This is why it's important to know what a healthy chicken looks like to start with. We recommend locating a couple of reference books on raising chickens and one on what to look for when a chicken is ill and how to treat them. Although we are packing this video with lots and lots of information, you will want something to refer to from time to time. Of course, you can always return back to this video to refresh your memory. We will, however, leave a couple of links in the video description on some really great reference manuals to have on hand. They are affiliate links we make a very small commission on if you order, and using that link will help out our channel. And in case you're wondering, using the link does not increase the cost of the books, and at times may just save you some money. Now, keep in mind that although the internet is a popular and easy reference, it may not always be accurate. Not to mention, having a book on hand if the internet or grid goes down ensures you always are able to access the information you may need in the event an issue arises. This is true too with any homesteading or prepping information you may access online. You want to make sure you have some books on it at home if the day comes that access to the internet is unavailable. Choosing the right breed for you. Now you might be asking, what breed should you consider? Aren't all chickens the same? Well, no. Selecting the best breed for your needs requires careful consideration. Climate, space, and your goals all play a role. While one breed might thrive in a cold northern climate, that same breed may not do well in very hot climates. While there are those who may excel in hot, arid regions, those same breeds may not be able to handle extremely cold environments. Additionally, some breeds are suited for egg production, others for meat, and a few are dual purpose. Keep an eye out for our upcoming video, which will dive deeper into the various breeds and their unique advantages. Be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon so you don't miss it. When it comes to selecting the right chickens for your homestead, talking to a company that specializes in hatching chickens of various breeds can be incredibly helpful. They'll be your best resource for finding out which breeds work best for your region. However, the first decision you'll need to make is whether you want chickens for egg production, meat, or both. For us on our homestead, the number of hens we were allowed to have was limited, and raising chickens solely for meat didn't make sense financially. We weren't interested in raising chickens for meat. Our primary goal was to have hens for their eggs and for the companionship they provided. To us, each hen was far more valuable for the eggs they gave us than as a one-time meal. So, not a single hen ever made it into our frying pan. Even when their laying days were over, we allowed them to stay with us and live out the rest of their lives. We felt it was the least we could do for the years of eggs they provided our family. Many people might have a different approach, and some would process hens once they stop laying eggs. On our homesteads and farms, we believe every animal deserves to be treated with the utmost respect and handled humanely. While it's a natural part of farming to dispatch chickens once they stop laying, it's important to remember that each animal's life is valuable. Every one of us should approach the process with respect and gratitude, acknowledging the sacrifice it has made to nourish and sustain our families. For us, however, dispatching the hens wasn't something we needed to do. Not with the dozen or so we had to care for, nor did we have the heart to do it. In general, chickens aren't expensive to feed. Between the scraps from our garden, the free range they enjoyed foraging, and the food we always had on hand for them, feeding chickens wasn't an issue for us. For most people, it's similar. However, on a homestead or farm with multiple animals, homesteaders and farmers often face the difficult reality that, unless an animal is kept as a pet, for breeding, or serves another specific purpose, they may feel the need to process it once it no longer serves a practical role. The costs of feeding and providing medical care for a full farm or homestead full of animals often factor into that decision. It's a cold, hard truth of farming when animals are raised with a clear purpose in mind. That is a decision only each individual can make for themselves, what is best for their situation. But no matter what you choose when a hen stops laying for good, always remember to treat them with kindness and compassion, for these animals who feed us deserve nothing less from us in return. The essentials of raising chickens: what's needed to get started. In this segment, I'll cover the basics of raising chickens. You'll find links to all the products we recommend, many of which we've personally used and others that our friends have tried, in the video description below. And keep in mind that although there will be an initial cost up front to get started raising chickens, once you have purchased what you need, most of those supplies will last for many years to come. Raising chickens is relatively simple compared to other livestock, but they do have some essential needs. Shelter. Your chickens need a safe, secure shelter that shields them from the elements and protects them from predators. Whether you choose a mobile or stationary coop, a well-constructed home is vital for their health and safety. Predator protection should always be a top priority. One of our favorite coops is the Over-Easy Classic Large Chicken Coop for up to 15 chickens. It arrives ready to assemble in just a matter of a few panels, and it's easy to set up with simple instructions. Once you put it together, you can fortify it however you need to, and you can also add a run to it. While they're not sponsors of this video, if you're not into building your own coop or don't have the skills, this option makes the process easy. These coops are very well made. We'll provide a link below to the Over-Easy Classic Large Chicken Coop, which is made in the USA and even comes painted. It also has an optional chicken run that can be purchased separately. We haven't personally used the run, but we have seen the coop in person. You can check out the Over-Easy Chicken Coop walk-in 8-feet chicken run link in the description as well. Planning your coop. Take your time planning your coop and run. There's nothing more heartbreaking than losing your flock because you missed a weak point in your defenses. As their keeper, it's your responsibility to ensure their safety. Once predators realize there's easy prey, they will come back. So think ahead. Decide on the type of coop that fits your needs, fortify it, and give your chickens the protection they deserve. A secure run is essential, even if you plan to free-range your chickens. What happens if predators become a problem? As we discussed earlier, keeping chickens locked up in a coop for their entire lives isn't ideal and can make for not a very good existence for the chickens. A run attached to your chicken coop or built around it is a smart investment. Don't wait until something happens. Have the security in place from the start. And if free-ranging isn't safe or practical in your area, a run is a must to keep your chickens safe and healthy. Please don't keep them confined to a coop with no chance to roam and do what chickens were meant to do. That's no way for chickens to have to live. You will want to build a secure run. You can either purchase a pre-made run or build one yourself using 2x4 lumber and hardware cloth. Also, attach shade cloth to protect your chickens from rain and the heat of the day. Provide shaded areas as well as sunny spots, so your chickens can enjoy both. There are plenty of plans available online if you'd like to build your own coop, and even companies that will build one for you with a rent-to-own option, allowing you to pay over time. Although not sponsors of ours, there is a company called Carolina Coops that build custom coops that are the best in the business. If your budget allows it, they can create you an amazing chicken coop to fit your needs and specification. They can guide you in the right direction and will create a chicken coop that will look great on your property and provide a home for your chickens that will blow your mind. If you decide to check out California Coop, let them know Buckeye Bloomstead sent you. Whatever you do, try to avoid at all costs purchasing one of those cheap, small, kit-type coops that came from overseas. They will not hold up and may fail to protect your chickens. Read reviews and really do your due diligence when purchasing ready-made coops. Pay close attention to measurements because photos can be deceiving. They may look great in pictures, but when you get them home, you'll be lucky if you can fit more than a couple of hens inside, no matter what they claim. Some of them look like nothing much larger than something a rabbit might live in. Not kidding. There is no height to some of them, and many are so low to the ground that cleaning them requires you to literally get on the ground. And if the worst happens and you have to retrieve a chicken that has passed on, well, let's just say You will be wishing you invested in a well-built, full-size coop that was large enough for you to be able to stand in it to clean, feed, and do whatever you need to do to care for your chickens. Some of these poorly built coops often lack the strength to withstand a strong windstorm, let alone a determined predator. The durability of your chicken coop is key to keeping your chickens and your investment safe. I can't stress this enough. You will realize at some point when raising chickens that protecting your chickens from predators is one of the most important responsibilities of a homesteader. The life of your flock depends on it. If you are raising chickens for eggs or meat, their safety affects your ability to feed your family like you planned if something happens to your chickens. Predators come in many forms. Some fly, some crawl, some creep, and others prowl. From birds of prey like hawks, owls, eagles, and falcons, to land-based predators like dogs, raccoons, foxes, skunks, possums, bobcats, coyotes, and even snakes, all are relentless in their pursuit of an easy meal. This is why building a predator-proof coop is essential. A good coop is more than just a place for your chickens to sleep. It's a fortress that protects them from attacks from above, below, and from the sides. If birds of prey are a concern in your area, it's crucial to cover your chicken run with hardware cloth. This metal mesh is strong enough to keep the sharp talons of a hawk or eagle from swooping down and snatching up your chickens. But the threat doesn't stop there. Ground predators like raccoons and coyotes will stop at nothing to break into your coop. Hardware cloth, with small enough openings to prevent predators from grabbing your chickens through it, is key. But be sure the openings are not so small that your own chicken's beak or claws could become trapped. The hardware cloth should be extended outside the coop and bent outward in an L shape, a few feet from the structure, to discourage any predator from digging underneath. Ventilation is important in the heat of summer, but open windows should never be left unprotected. Even when the windows are open, hardware cloth should cover them, preventing small animals from sneaking in. The doors should be reinforced to withstand any force trying to break through, especially near the bottom, where clever predators like raccoons might pry open a weak spot. These animals are smart. Raccoons in particular are known for their ability to manipulate latches, hooks, and closures to gain access. If you live in bear country and have chickens, well, needless to say, your coop will have to be beefed up tenfold. We would recommend having a secondary fence around the entire coop and run that can be electrified to protect your hens from bear. Something that is going to get a bear's attention if they come into contact with it. Do not electrify the coop itself. If you forget to turn it off, you don't want your chickens to get caught up in it. The bottom line is that you must think like a predator when you're building. How would you get to your chickens if you were an animal that was hungry? Because trust me, they will figure it out if you don't shore up those weaknesses. And then there's the decision of whether to allow your chickens to free range. If you live in an area with significant predator activity, this might not be the best option. You must ask yourself, what kinds of predators inhabit your region? Even your family pet, unless trained to leave the chickens alone, could become a threat. Once a dog, for example, gets a taste for a chicken, it's incredibly hard to break that instinct. Now, there are farm dogs who are trained to protect. Generally, their job is to protect animals like goats and sheep, but many of them will also protect your chickens. Although I would not rely on a dog raised to protect the farm to be your sole level of protection. There is only so much a farm dog can do, especially if there is multiple threats at once. Call your local wildlife management authority to determine what predators are in your area. Generally, if you build a secure enough coop, you should not have any problems. We raised chickens for over 15 years and never lost a chicken due to a predator. Were we lucky? Perhaps, but we think the way we built our chicken coop and run was what kept our hens safe. If they were free-ranging past the runs, we were out there with them, and our dogs on the property were there to protect them. We were fortunate enough to have dogs that would not harm our chickens. Not every dog will be that kind, however. At the end of the day, it's up to you to plan ahead. Make sure your chickens have a safe and secure space to call home. At night, when danger is at its highest, always close the coop. Never leave them to fend for themselves, because chances are they won't be there in the morning. There is nothing more heartbreaking than waking up to find your flock wiped out because you didn't protect them properly. As their keeper, that responsibility rests squarely on your shoulders. Wild animals are persistent, and once they discover an easy meal, they will return. Be vigilant, be prepared, and above all, protect those who rely on you for their safety. Your chickens deserve nothing less. Another word about protection before we move on to the next section. You might want to look into securing your flock from predators using a Gallagher or Premier 1 netting, which are excellent options for additional security. Although we have not used them personally, I have many friends who do use them with great success. I will leave a link for a couple of them in the video description below, as well as links for the other items you may find useful. Now, as you are planning your coop build, don't forget about roosts. Chickens prefer to sleep elevated. Install roosting bars inside the coop to meet this need. Do your research to find out what size they should be. Check out the link we provided in our video description on the roosts made by California Coop. They are veterinarian recommended for the prevention and treatment of bumblefoot because it allows for airflow underneath your bird's feet. The roost bar is an ideal width with chamfered cuts allow for chickens to grip the roost bar comfortably without their feet being flat. They are easily removable, and each roost bar comes with 2 high-density polyethylene sockets and 4 screws so they can be attached to any henhouse. We can't say enough about these roosts. The rope-covered roost bars create a more natural feel for your chickens, just like when they would roost before the time of chicken coops. Nesting boxes. Offering dry, private nesting boxes ensures your hens have a safe place to lay their eggs. Nesting material. Using straw provides warmth. Do not use hay, as hay can mold and can freeze. Our boxes were insulated like the rest of our chicken coop, so freezing was not an issue. We also lined our boxes with artificial turf squares that were placed under the straw that made cleanup so easy. Clean water. Always provide access to fresh, clean water. In extreme temperatures, ensure it doesn't freeze or overheat. There are products available that can be used in winter to keep water from freezing that are available for chickens. Proper food. Feed your flock a balanced diet with adequate protein, 12 to 20%, and supplement with calcium if necessary. Avoid relying solely on scratch as it lacks sufficient protein. Their age will determine what type of food they need for growth and production of eggs and if when raising meat birds. Always offer garden scraps, mealworms. Freeze-dried crickets and other insects will provide great nutrition and great protein for them. We recommend you do the same. Now, I know this next bit might sound a little strange, and it may even make some of you uncomfortable, but bear with me. It's a great way to keep your chickens healthy and replenish their system with the nutrients they need for egg development. So here it goes. We actually fed our chickens eggs. Yes, you heard that right. We would take some of our extra eggs and every few days serve them hard-boiled or scrambled. We'd crumble the hard-boiled eggs into tiny pieces, let them cool, and then feed them to the chickens. The scrambled eggs, served plain with no seasoning or oils, were fed on paper plates to make cleanup easier. Depending on the number of chickens you have, you might want to provide more than one feeding spot to ensure every bird gets its fair share. It's a simple yet effective way to add extra nutrition and protein to their diets. Despite what you may have heard, feeding chickens eggs doesn't encourage them to eat their own eggs. We've never experienced this, and from what we understand, it's actually quite rare. Chickens that do eat their own eggs are usually lacking something essential in their diet, a deficiency that can easily be corrected. Along with eggs, we also fed our chickens shredded carrots, apples cut in fine pieces, healthy vegetables, sprouts we grew ourselves, and a variety of fruits. The result? Some of the healthiest chickens and the richest eggs you could imagine. If you plan on feeding your chickens produce from the local market, we recommend choosing organic options. Non-organic fruits and vegetables are often coated with pesticides and waxes, which aren't just unhealthy for us, they can be harmful to your chickens as well, and you have to ask yourself, will that end up in the eggs? If you decide to supplement your chickens' diet with eggs or other chicken-friendly foods, be sure to remove any uneaten food from the run in extreme heat after a reasonable amount of time. This helps prevent spoiled food and keeps their environment clean. We also made it a point to feed our chickens outside the coop, never inside where they roost. Unless, of course, weather is an issue, making outside feeding in the chicken run problematic. Inside the coop where they roost, they did have access to water all night, but once they roost, they generally won't move down off their roost. By feeding them only in the run area, we keep their sleeping environment as clean as possible. There are some coop designs that are large enough to have an area built inside their roosting area for food. It just depends on your coop design and what you think is best for your flock. It deserves mentioning that by no means are we experts in raising chickens. We raised chickens for many years. It made mistakes along the way and learned what worked and what didn't. We will tell you that researching what others do and what has worked for them, especially when designing a chicken coop, is very helpful. For us, designing our chicken coop was a very rewarding experience. You can make it just as simple as you wish based on your budget, or have one professionally built for you. There are so many options to choose from. Just remember the basics we discussed in this video. Now, as we touched on earlier, chickens need space to roam. Whether they're free range or within a run, they need room to forage and explore. This is essential for their well-being, and as an added bonus, it helps control the insect population on your property. Dust baths. Allow your chickens to roll in the dust, as it's their natural way of managing mites and pests. Adding food-grade diatomaceous earth, DE, and I mean food-grade only, can enhance the effectiveness of their baths and help control and prevent parasites. But remember, never use the diatomaceous earth meant for swimming pool filters. Only food-grade diatomaceous earth is safe for your chickens. Make sure to provide a dry area inside the safety of your chicken run where the birds can enjoy their dust baths. Keep it sheltered from rain and snow. We set up a dedicated area inside their run, a large concave space filled with a mixture of clean, dry dirt, not manure, play sand, and food-grade diatomaceous earth. They absolutely loved it. And should they ingest any of the diatomaceous earth, because it's food grade, it won't harm them. Rather, it helps prevent parasites. Grit. Now, this is very important in keeping your chickens healthy. Chickens don't have teeth to chew their food, so they rely on a specialized part of their digestive system called the gizzard to break down food. The gizzard is a muscular organ that grinds and crushes the food, helping to break it down into smaller, more digestible pieces. However, for this process to work efficiently, chickens need to have grit, small hard particles like fine crushed stones or gravel, available to them. Grit works by acting as a mechanical digestive aid. When a chicken eats food, it passes down to the crop, a storage pouch in the chicken's throat. From there, the food moves into the gizzard, where it is mixed with grit. The grit then helps grind up the food, breaking it down further so the chicken can absorb the nutrients. Without access to grit, chickens would struggle to properly digest their food, leading to poor nutrient absorption and potential health issues. There are two types of grit chickens may need. Insoluble grit. This is typically made of small pieces of granite or other hard stones. It is essential for breaking down food in the gizzard. Soluble grit, such as oyster shell. This type of grit is primarily used to provide chickens with calcium, which is essential for producing strong eggshells. It is particularly important for laying hens. In a natural setting, chickens will typically find grit while foraging. But if they are kept in a confined area without access to natural sources of grit, it's important to provide them with supplemental grit. You can purchase grit specifically for chickens at most farm stores. Free range or not, we would recommend always making sure they have access to it. In summary, grit is essential for chickens to break down food in their gizzard, and without it, they would not be able to properly digest their food, leading to digestive issues and poor overall health. You'll also need feeders to hold their crumble, mash, or whatever type of feed you choose for them. However, it's important to keep their dry foods separate from other foods like eggs, fruits, and vegetables. These should not be placed in the same containers used for their regular feed. You might want a feeder designed to hold the food while preventing the hens from defecating in it. Let's talk a bit about preserving and maximizing egg production. Egg production can fluctuate with the seasons, particularly in winter. To maintain a steady supply, some owners supplement lighting by providing 14 to 16 hours of light during shorter days. We are not fans of this, however. Chickens need to rest and recover from months of laying eggs, so we always allowed our hens to take a break and let the hens tell us when their bodies needed to rest. When you don't allow them to rest, you are shortening their lives by slowly forcing the hens to basically work themselves to death. If you value the life of your hens, you will let the hens, generally in winter, take that break. Preserve surplus. To ensure we had eggs during the winter when our hens were not laying, we simply scrambled and dehydrate extra eggs during peak production to ensure we had access to eggs when our hens were on break for the season. Be sure to subscribe to our channel because soon we will have a video showing you exactly how to preserve eggs for future use. Now, before we wrap it up, let's debunk a couple of common myths and share some fun facts about chickens. First, do hens need a rooster to lay eggs? Actually, no. Hens will lay eggs regardless of a rooster's presence. Roosters are only necessary for fertilized eggs. Are brown eggs healthier than white eggs? The color of the eggshell has no impact on its nutritional value. A chicken's diet is the primary determinant of an egg's quality. Did you know that chickens can run at 9 miles per hour? It's true. A chicken can run a mile in about 6 minutes and 40 seconds with a top speed of 9 miles per hour. This will vary depending on the breed, fitness level, and disposition of the individual chicken. Now, after all that running, you might find it hard to believe that chickens do not sweat. Again, this is true. In general, chickens are better equipped to handle cold weather rather than hot weather. This is mainly due to their feathers. In order to cool down, they will drink water or flap their wings to get rid of some body heat. When overheated, they will also pant. And last but not least, there are more chickens than humans in the world. Well, this was no surprise to us. On average, there are currently more than 20 billion chickens in the world. For reference, in 2018, there are over 8 billion humans in the world. So, there you have it. If you would like to hear more chicken facts, keep an eye out for our video on fun chicken facts. So there you have it. Although we have covered many of the basics of raising chickens, there is more you will want to know before starting on your journey on raising chickens. Raising chickens is more than a hobby. It's a step towards sustainability, independence, and harmony with nature. With the right preparation and knowledge, your flock can thrive, providing food, joy, and a deeper connection to the land. If you've enjoyed this guide, like, share, and subscribe for more homesteading insights. Let us know in the comments what excites you most about raising chickens. Until next time, happy homesteading.